Hello and welcome back to episode 3 of Lakeside Adventure here on this Let's Play Planet Coaster series. Obviously, if you watched the last episode, we finished off the main entrance for now anyway with building the Lakeside Bar, and we began construction on the USA area of the park, and we put in a floorless coaster. The plan for this episode is to carry on with the US area by theming the coaster, doing a bit more sort of general construction on the US area, and maybe if we've got time we'll throw in a cheeky little flat ride at the end, but we'll see. So yeah, as you can see here, I'm just building the terrain around the coaster. I did mention in the last episode I kind of want to go for a Mount Rushmore sort of theme. Unfortunately, I won't be building the four presidents' faces into the mountain, so you will have to use your imagination there. But in terms of just the colour, the style, and the kind of basis for the ride, that is what I'm going for. Which you can see, which is why I'm kind of making the whole area a bit sort of rocky, and just kind of getting rid of any grassy areas. It's more of a rocky mountain sort of theme. So. Yeah, that's the general plan. Obviously, I like the fact that it's a big eye-catching coaster, but at the same time, I want a lot of it to be hidden, but hidden in the right way. So as you can see there, I've just that was covered up right at the end, and I felt like that should have been out in the open. So it's all about just testing it and moving bits and bobs. So now that I've got most of the terrain sorted, it's just time to basically fill in the landscape, really, putting a few of the trees about, and just kind of making it look as natural as natural as possible, and making it look as though the coaster was built into the natural terrain as such. Because I think when coasters do look like that, that's when they do appear the best. If you compare the coaster at the end of the last episode to what it is at the end of this one, it's a massive difference the scenery makes. So yeah, I'll be spending a lot of time doing that during this episode. I won't be theming the station in this one. That'll be in the next one. That'll be in the next episode. Yeah. So as you can see, the trees are going about. I'll be following up the trees with a few rocks as well. Again, rocks are very good sort of space fillers. And ways to hide things if you don't want things to be visible. For example, if you look at the big lift hill chain there, there's a lot of footings to the supports on show, and I don't really. Although obviously the supports are needed, and I could turn them off when I'm building them, but if you turn them off, it kind of looks a bit unrealistic, I think, as a coaster, because you do need the supports there, in real life. And although the supports do sort of stand out a bit like a sore thumb, it's ideal to use rocks to kind of hide them and build them into build the supports going into the rocks so to hide them. So that's what I'll be doing there. As you can see here, I'm just putting some smoke and mist in the tunnels. Now what I decided to do was kind of go for red, white and blue. As you can see, I have painted the track and the train to the red, white and blue colours, and that's what I'm doing for these tunnels. So when I zoom out, you'll see that there's 3 bits of track that go down here in 3 different tunnels. One's red, one's white, and one's blue. So I just thought that was a nice little, maybe a little cheesy, but yeah, I just thought it was a nice little effect to just to decorate the coaster, really. So yeah, that's the plan here, and hopefully when we come to ride it, it does work. So yeah, this is where I start building the rocks. As you can see, the footings for the supports, they're just sort of concrete squares at the minute, and they kind of stand out a little bit away from the theme and the design that I've gone for. So the plan is just to build over them with a sort of rock pile on the edge of this hill, looking over the path. I won't be going around every support on the coaster, because from the path, guests won't see most of the supports. It's just the ones that would be visible if you were hovering around the path. So that's the plan. That's the reasoning behind this. and I do think it actually works out really well as well. As you can see, it does develop all the way around, and it does fit with the sort of rocks, with the Rocky Mountain terrain and theme. So yeah, it's just a case of building all along here, and kind of trying to blend everything in and making it again look as natural as possible. So also, as we discussed in the last episode, I will be naming this ride Rush. Again, just sticking with the Mount Rushmore idea and theme, and I just think it fits really well for a coaster. The word Rush. I know in the UK here at Thorpe Park, we have a flat ride. We have a screaming swing flat ride called Rush, which is the only version of itself in the UK. I think most of those are based in the US, yeah. So that's we have got a ride over here called Rush, and funnily enough, that is the flat ride that I will be putting in at the end of this episode. So the quick spoiler alert there for you. But as you can see, I'm just finishing off decorating / hiding the supports. I think it's a really hard one to describe. Like, I think the supports look good going over the path, but then the bases kind of stand out. So that's why I'm doing this. That's why I'm decorating in the way I am, and and designing it like that. So I think from here, as you can see from the out views there, the view of the coaster now does look really good. We just want to put some lighting in this tunnel, just so they're not going, just so the guests aren't going into the dark. Now, as you can see, obviously USA got to stick to the red, white, and blue. As the track, as is the ride operator's uniform, everything is going to be red, white, and blue. And once the coaster station building has been built, that will of course be covered in US flags. Because if anyone's ever been to America and looked at American buildings, Americans are extremely proud of having their flags around. It's not something we do as much in Britain, but yeah, the US do enjoy having flags everywhere. Which, and to be fair, I think it does look great. It's a very good design to have on buildings. Is a lot of the US flags. It does fit really well. So just on here, I wanted to make the whole area a bit of like a giant plaza and walkway, which is what I'm doing here. I'm just kind of filling in the gaps. Now, anyone who's played Planet Coaster knows that the pathing tool is one of the biggest annoyances on the game, trying to make paths as big as this. So what I've decided to do is do as much as I can without any issues, and then kind of fill in the gaps that are left with plants. And I think it goes well. I wouldn't want the whole thing to be paved or tarmacked, or we've got some cobbled stones down here, so I won't want the whole thing to be to just be a path, because I think that again would look pretty plain. But I know from seeing other people's videos, it is one of the biggest headaches on the game, is to make the path do what you want. So I thought I'd try and utilise what it's left me and create my own little areas, and I'll probably end up putting some benches and some bins, etc., just to have areas where people can sit down. Now, towards the left of the screen, just here, the right now, I'm going to make some food buildings and some shops, just to blend in with the US area, basically. That will be part of the next episode, is doing those buildings. I've got a rough idea of the layout that I want, but I would like them to back onto the lake. I don't want the edge of the lake to be covered in rides. I want some of those to just be buildings, because I think having it surrounded by flat rides would be, or flat rides or bars, etc., I think would be a bit of overkill. So I do want a bit around the lake to just be facades and buildings, and I think that the design works. So yeah, as you can see, I'm just filling in the last little area that's been left by the path, and you can see just there the area where the buildings are going. So the other plan for this episode is, once I've finished filling in these and getting the plaza ready, the other plan is to extend the railway round from the beginning of the park. So if you remember, in episode 1 we built a train station above the park entrance, Now that I've done, a bit of construction in the US area, I think it's time to bring the railway round a little bit, just so I can get an idea of where the track will be going. I don't want it interfering too much with the coaster, but I don't want it hovering over the path, because I think having the train supports just flying over the path would, it wouldn't really fit very well. Is basically the reason why. There's a few bins and a few seating areas around for the guests. There's a very thin bit here, so I've tried to find the smallest plants I could or flowers, and I thought I'd just put in these little tulips. So now it's time to extend the railway out. So this will be the end of the railway. The train is actually facing the other way, so I thought I'd try and weave in between these trees and rocks here, and keep it on the edge, on the rocks, so it's not interfering with the coaster, but still interacting with it enough to get a sense of being involved when you're on the train. I'm quite pleased with where that track runs there. To be fair, I think that fits in really well. So I think the next job here is to build the sign for the ride. As I say, Rush is going to be the name of it, and obviously you can see in the background I did change it from the orange colour that it was in the last episode when we installed it. I changed it to a red, white and blue coaster, as with everything. Unfortunately, I can't change this guy's uniform to red, white and blue. He just stands there in solid blue colours. Every little detail in here, for example, the font that I'm just going through, is important. I know it probably seems a bit time wasting to try and change someone's uniform, but every little thing does add to it. I just want to fill this little gap of grass I've got on the side of here. I didn't really want to do too much other than just extend the trees that I had there. So you can see the plot of grass there with the food shops going. And here's the flat ride. Here's the screaming swing. So ironically, as I say, there is one in the UK called Rush. However, in this Planet Coaster, we've got the roller coaster called Rush. Would like a name for this hammer swing. I've still yet to name it. So anything appropriate with the American theme would be very much appreciated. I thought it'd fit well alongside these rocks here, so I can just extend the theme in and the planting around there, just so it all blends in really. And then between the flat ride and the big plaza that we've just built, that's where the food shops will be going and the stalls. And I think overall, as you can see when I zoom out afterwards, I think it does all blend in really well. Again, the idea for on the edge of the lake is to put rocks there, and again it is repeating what I've done before, but I don't think there's much else that works better than rocks. Probably further along, if I've got a water ride or another area that fits well, I might put a sort of jetty in there and some boats to just fit in with the lake. But other than that, I think this is the style of theming really that does sit well. And it won't be rocks all the way around the lake. Again, if there's buildings sat onto the side of the lake, then then they'll just sit there. But I just think this theming fits really well. And as you can see, the guests will swing over, red, white and blue obviously, over the lake and facing the coaster, and I think you get two great views. So we've got to change the operator's outfit obviously. Change her, so she's wearing a red cap, blue t-shirt and white shorts. Looking good. Right, there's a quick overview of the area. I think it's time to take a quick ride onto, there's the view from the Lakeside bar. We'll take a quick ride on the flat ride. So thank you for watching this episode, and I shall hope to see you in episode 4, where we will continue theming the US area. Thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.